Welcome back to Cancel Weekly. That's Candice. He's Gerard. I'm Mickey. Today, we got Rob Dyrdek talking about pigs and wigs. We have art versus happiness. We have how to spot an idiot. And we have your mom's house comments. But first, we got Brad Pitt talking about America.
True, that out of many we are one.
You hear that line? Line's for you. Don't make me laugh. We're one people. It's a myth created by Thomas Jefferson. Oh, now you never go with Jefferson, huh? My friend, Jefferson's an American saint because he wrote the words, all men are created equal. Words he clearly didn't believe since he allowed his own children to live in slavery. He was a rich wine snob who was sick of paying taxes to the Brits. So yeah, he wrote some lovely words and aroused the rabble, and they went out and died for those words, while he sat back and drank his wine and fucked his slave girl. This guy wants to tell me we're living in a community. Don't make me laugh. I'm living in America, and in America you're on your own. Not a country. It's just a business. Now fucking pay me.
What's that from?
Pay me.
It's from a movie called Killing Them Softly.
These are James Gandolfini's.
James Gandolfini.
Yeah.
He has a smaller role than they put on in that movie.
Older movie?
About 10 years now.
Okay.
Shit,
At least.
yeah,
I'd say at
it's a
least.
good movie. It's worth watching.
What's it called? Killing Them Softly?
Killing Them Softly, yeah. Ray Liotta, the late Ray Liotta's in that film, and Johnny Sack is in
A lot
the
of our
film.
dead Goombas.
Yeah. It's a worthwhile movie, but Brad Pitt's character is fantastic in that. Now, what I love about that clip in particular, right, is like this is the yin to the yang, right, of like my hyper love for America and what this has meant to the world and what the ideology and like the historical impact of a people of the government for the government. It's really wild what the founding fathers were able to do. We've talked about it a lot. They're remarkable. But then there is that other side of it where it's like, you know what? Why am I playing by other people's rules that they don't even play by? I'm going to sit here and pay taxes to somebody who's going to send other people away to die in a war that I don't give a shit about. But if I don't pay my taxes or if I do insider trading like Pelosi and these people do, I'll go to jail forever. Nah, fuck that. Get yours in whatever way you possibly can. So you have that kind of like duality inside, I think, a lot of us, that this speaks to that second side where it's like, you know what, man? I'm not here to be a patriot. I'm not here to be a martyr. I'm just here to get by. Fucking pay me. You said you were going to pay me. Don't give me no shit about fucking teamwork. Pay me.
Yeah, that's an interesting clarification, too, because the American Revolution was done by the elites.
Correct.
These were the elites. These were the rich people. These were the people who had money and had property and had things. You know what I mean? Like you take like the French Revolution, like that was done by a lot of like, you know, poorer people, you know, who got ideas from the American Revolution. Happened right after.
Well, yes.
That was more like the rabble rousers and the riffraff. They in the French Revolution versus here was the elites led it.
Yes.
You disagree?
No. I think you're right, but there's an important clarification because there was aristocracy and there was like birthright elitism. And part of the problem with the colonial elites, even though they were elites here, they were landowners, slave owners, they were seen as second-class citizens in Europe. And part of their, like, they weren't allowed to be in the cool kid.
Fathers?
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing with the French Revolution. The rabble-rousing happened because the poor were being abused, but it was the wealthy that roused the rebels. It was, you know, Robespierre, and the Jacobins and these folks, they weren't. It wasn't like a peasant revolution. They used the peasants. They got the peasants going, and they kind of taught the Bolsheviks how to do it. Same thing with Lenin. A lot of times these populist revolutions are like rich kids that get the poor people, the thousands and thousands of them, to you know, carry out their you didn't let me sit at the table kind of revenge. I don't know.
I think the delineation I'm making as well is that here it was the elites not wanting to pay any more taxes.
Yeah.
Versus there, it was like they were like being mistreated. They had, you know what I mean? They almost had it wasn't like so much of like a, you know, a financial thing for them.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Where
Like, it wasn't a let them eat bread, a let them eat cake situation.
Yes. It was like, they were like, you know, it's like, why am I paying my taxes across when you guys are barely doing anything?
Yeah, that, and also just, British soldiers can come over and sleep in my house and fucking have my daughter.
Take quarters.
And we really were second-class citizens. We were British subjects. We weren't British citizens. So, and I know that that's something that's thrown around a lot. Like this was just the wine snob elites and stuff. But the elites that did it, they had the most to lose. Right? So the founding fathers had something to lose by signing their name. Like John Hancock, like he did that as a big fuck you. Like, hey, I want to make sure you know who's signing this shit.
Yeah.
John Hancock, a renowned figure in American history, is known for his distinct signature on the United States Declaration of Independence. It's one of the largest and most elaborate signatures on the document. It's believed that Hancock purposely signed his name boldly and extravagantly so that King George could read it without his spectacles, showcasing his defiance and bravery and demonstrating his dedication to the cause of American independence.
So lately there's been like a big indictment on the founding fathers. They've been tearing down statues. I think they just tore down a statue the other day in New York of Jefferson. Mm-hmm. But these guys were the ultimate badasses. Even though, you know what I mean? They had shit to lose. They could have lived a good life and paid their taxes, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But they went and then, and you can harp on this, I'm sure, went and created a system where they weren't taking power. They were trying to set up a system for the future, right? They could have, like George Washington could have went there and be like, yeah, motherfuckers, I'm king for the rest of my life. I'm just going to chill out in my tobacco fields and have my slaves rub my feet. You know what I mean? But he was like, all right, I'll do 4 years if I gotta. But you know what I mean? And they set up a system that was kind of had the checks and balances in there.
No doubt about it. They're the first people to ever take over and share in their victory. Like, hey, we took over. And, the brilliance of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights that followed it is it's the first ever set of laws and guidelines that a country ever was founded on about what the government can't do. Not what the citizens can't do, what the government can't do. The first time that it happened was the Magna Carta, and that literally happened with the king at knife point. They're like, sign this shit, Your Majesty.
Yeah.
That's not what happened here. So, it's been bastardized, and that they weren't perfect. They were very imperfect people, but, in the history of our species, nothing like that had ever been tried.
What do you think of the attack on them using like the modernity, the modern times against, what they were doing then? Well, why was the statue of Jefferson taken down? Because he was fucking his slaves?
I have my opinions on it, but I actually think that women have been the driving force behind a lot of this. So I'd like to get your opinion on why that is.
Yeah, Candice, why do you hate the founding fathers?
I don't understand it. It's I was actually reading a newsletter today for my kids' school, and it's so enraging that we can't just look at facts of history. We have to put in our opinion and almost a retroactive apology for something we haven't done. Like they were talking about.
Real quick, I know are your kids at a normal school?
They're at a private school, but it's.
I know you're a big fan of Montessori schools and alternative education.
The woke influences are everywhere unless they go to like a super religious school, and I'm obviously not religious, and there's another set of issues that come along with that, in my opinion. But there's not like a great STEM school that I can just put them in. The public school, not gonna fucking happen.
You're trying to build one out there.
To build one. I'll find out in the spring if I get approved for one or not. So that's the goal, is to build it. It's like, don't accept. Everyone's like, there's no perfect solution. I was like, well, homeschooling's pretty fucking close, especially if you have the resources to hire somebody, which we do, like, fortunately enough. But like, I don't accept that answer. I'm gonna try to get to close to perfect as I possibly can, and that's building a school.
Being the change.
Exactly. And I already have a whole bunch of families that are just waiting for the approval. So if it happens, we're gonna hit the ground running. But the newsletter was talking about Australia, and I think today's Australia Day or whatever, and they were saying, well, so many people celebrate it. It does have this dark underbelly because
Australia?
Because people took the land from the Aboriginals and the first people and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, we have always been everywhere.
Who do the Aboriginals take it from?
Exactly. Each other. And the same when it comes to the Native Americans here. Like, we act like they were these peace-loving, kumbaya people, but like they were fierce warriors. They were cannibals. Like there was always kind of a struggle for whose territory is whose, and that was ever changing. So to pretend that we are all like the white man that colonialized, like they're the only ones that have this flaw is flawed.
There's a movie called I believe it's called Bury Me at Wounded Knee. That it's an okay movie. It's like kind of like a made-for-TV movie, but it has an iconic scene where an Indian chief and a U.S. soldier actually sit down and they try to negotiate a peace, and they were like, Chief Sitting Bull, you called for this meeting. You must leave our lands, and they go back and forth, and it's a very well-known clip, but it's really remarkable, and it illustrates exactly what you're saying. And this guy
is like the fearsomeness of them.
Well, they're just having a conversation.
They're just people.
It's diplomatic, and they're like, you have to leave. This is our land.
Chief Sitting Bull, the proposition that you were a peaceable people before the appearance of the white man is the most fanciful legend of all. You were killing each other for hundreds of moons before the first white stepped foot on this continent. You conquered those tribes, lusting for their game and their lands, just as we have now conquered you for no less noble a cause.
This is your story of my people.
This is the truth, not legend.
Yeah, there's good people, bad people, territorial people.
Was this land not the Lakotas before you?
Mm.
Should you leave and give it back to the Lakotas? My people have been here. So it illustrates your point is what I'm saying.
Right, and then also expecting perfection from people that lived hundreds of years ago is also insane because you're using it's different times. What was acceptable then, right? We might not agree with now, but I guarantee there is going to be a whole bunch of stuff that we think is normal right now.
Kids were getting married at 14 years old. You know what I mean? Like now, who hates fucking pedophiles more than us? Who preaches against that?
Sure.
Well, I don't go back blaming them. Motherfuckers were living till 35. To keep our race alive, they had to do that shit young. You know what I mean?
The people that go after that, they'll normally really go after Christians. They'll hate Jews, and then they'll excuse Muhammad with Aisha.
Well, what I think is interesting too,
9 years old,
is like, so you blame them for not being perfect humans, but it's almost like they recognized their own flaws. And we said this in a previous episode, which is planting seeds of trees of the shade that you'll never enjoy. So maybe it's understanding that like the collective is not yet ready for what you're putting down and what you're proposing, but someday they will be. And I think that this is a lot of the work with Marcus Aurelius as well, because people are like, well, obviously he had a lot to critique because, it was like 1 in 5 people at the time was a citizen of the Roman Empire, and you don't get there without a lot of bloodshed and force. Sure, I'm sure that is all true. However, it's like his wisdom he knew was going to be perceived better in a different time. It's like it's not for now, it's for people later. So you can't take away the good because the people and the collective weren't ready at that moment. It's like you have to wait for the zeitgeist to change.
That's such a great point too, especially when you bring up Marcus Aurelius. It's an excellent example because he learned what he learned about Stoicism through his failures, of what he thought were his failures in leadership early on, when he was too quick to violence, too passionate, right? And then, here he is having literally conquered the world and sitting here saying, man, what could I have done better? And that's, a situation that it's really important for that self-evaluation that you're talking about. And when you said woke before, that's a word we throw it around a lot. Everybody's talking about it. You asked me in a podcast a couple months ago, like, did woke ever have a point? Was it good? And that's a great question to ask. That term has been bastardized. That's not really woke. That's communism. We have to be very, very clear. And I don't want to be simplistic in this, but it's coming from a place. This is not organic. It's not like people are just waking up one day and being like, fuck Thomas Jefferson. This is coming from outside, and it's digging its way and burrowing its way purposefully. I want to show you guys something. Pull this up, Christian, if you can. This is actual. This is not propaganda. This is real. This is the United States. This is the American Communist Party. This is from 58 years ago, 60 years ago. Read some of those goals, Christian, and tell me 60 years later, really one generation, how many goals do you think that they've achieved? Go ahead, read them out.
Let's hear that
siren's
Christian. Voice, Christian.
We got capture one or both. We got capture one or both of the political parties in the United States.
Check. Democratic Party.
Get control of schools and teachers associations. Soften the curriculum.
2 for 2.
3.
Gain control of all student newspapers.
3 for 3.
Infiltrate the press.
4 for 4.
Sure.
Gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and pictures.
5 for 5.
Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and press.
Getting close.
That's the right.
That's the right.
Right now.
Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling Say that? I don't understand that one.
Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and press.
Oh, no.
I feel like
I
that's the
correct
opposite.
myself. Yeah, I misheard it.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah, so that one they're not. That's more the side that we're on.
Yeah,
now.
that's the anti.
I'm surprised that's a
And then
communist thing.
7 is similar. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in the media.
We would never do anything like that.
Present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy.
Those two,
Dead on.
yeah, I don't agree with those, obviously, and everyone's going to come for me 'cause
Again,
I'm biased.
you have to understand the time.
Exactly, that's
so
what I'm
60
saying.
years ago,
I understand.
We're in that 1950s that we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah,
that,
the white picket fence.
white
and,
picket fence, church on Sunday.
wearing
Drugged
their-
up wife.
Yes, drugged up wives. Yep.
Mhm.
I had something when you were talking about Aurelius.
Mhm.
He's one of my favorite people ever.
Mhm.
He, much like a Washington, he could have had the life of Riley. You know what I mean? Could have put his feet up and drank all day, had sex with whoever he wanted to, but instead he practiced discipline. You know what I mean? That's where stoicism comes from. I thought the parallels between those two are interesting. And
Who's Riley that he gets known to
the
have
life
that
of
right?
Remember?
Yeah.
I don't know, but we should look that up. That would be
guy-
a good one.
who
Remember on
was-
Slick and Thick, we
Yeah.
did the, you know why it's called Under the Weather? When you're not feeling good?
Oh, because you go under the ground?
Very close.
Huh.
But, damn near. It's because people on boats would go under like the deck when they were getting sick, so they would avoid the harsh weather.
Below deck. My enemies have won today.
My enemies have succeeded.
I'll tell you what else. Brad Pitt has turned into like the most badass actor.
He's fantastic.
When
Absolutely.
when you watch
What are you
early Brad
turned
Pitt,
into?
early Brad
Legends
Pitt,
of the Fall, beast.
Fight Club, how long ago was that?
well, that's the thing, right?
Is that
It's
the
like
turning point?
early
Think of him
on, he
as,
was
as
like-
fucking Mickey in Snatch.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's always been.
No, he definitely in the
into.
beginning he was like either
In True Romance, he's just a dumb stoner.
That's what I'm saying. He played a lot of like stoner roles, and he played like a lot of like just kind of boy toy roles, Thelma and Louise and
What's
stuff
the
like that.
vampire one? Interview
Yes,
with a vampire.
Interview with a Vampire.
I saw that.
He's killing people.
He looks like he's dressed up like a Victorian poof.
Because it was in the Victorian era.
Also with the Indians, how you were saying how fearsome they were, or Native Americans at least, they used to do these crazy like torture rituals. Like to become a man, they'd do all this, like they'd have people just come in and beat the shit out of you, stab you. A woman would just come in and stab you. And if you screamed, you were not a man, you get banished from the tribe, they'd kick you out. You gotta just take it and kind of be like, that's all you got, pussy? And then they'd be like, hell yeah, brother.
You think
And they would sometimes capture white, like the white settlers, and they would make them go through the same things. And like some of them would like tell them how to say that.
Help me!
No, they see that? They'd kill you. Be like, yeah, you're soft, bro. You're soft. They tell them how to be like, they'd whack them and be like, fuck you, pussy. Like, you're a woman. And in their language, and they'd be like, we like this guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy
That-
shit.
Um,
They should have spent a little more time discovering gunpowder.
it would have helped. It would have been, to promote the, save
Oh,
their
God, here we
space.
go. Goggins is going to hear this, and it's going to be like, this is what you need to do to prove you're not a bitch.
Yeah, he's
I only
gonna-
want non-hard men.
We're
I'm
getting
coming to your
stabbed.
house and getting stabbed.
Yeah.
75 minutes in a hot, cold tub and then a knife to the gut.
And I was thinking, because you were saying Australia Day,
Mhm.
Do you think that Australians sound like drunk British people because they were all like the
The criminals.
riffraff and the criminals? And they're like, I might, yeah, bro. I'm gonna go over here and do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
well,
they
see-
kind of have like a
It's a
slur.
pretty good Aussie.
They got a slur. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Shout
there's-
out Antonio the Spartan.
There's like all the different dialects over in the UK. They're all speaking English, obviously, but they
Right.
sound very different, and some of them are a lot thicker than others. So it could have been
Heyo.
a classist thing where
Yeah.
like maybe a certain class was more likely to commit a crime or get caught committing a crime, and then they also didn't have the etiquette or like the know-how to speak
Right.
properly, and then they
Is
sent
that
over.
is that the worst or the best argument for not having prisons? Australia, you just took prisoners outside of one society, left them in the middle of an untamed
Dingo.
wilderness,
and they
then-
tamed it.
Yeah, and they say, oh, you want to come do some tourism, yeah?
Look at that koala.
Fuck.
How about throw on another shrimp on a barbie?
Hey, Steve Irwin.
We all did a very bad Australian.
Just kept getting worse and
Each
worse.
person went, we're like, I'll do a try. Gerard said mine was good. Let me try.
We're 2 more takes away from it being like, yeah, what's happening? Welcome to Sydney, bitch.
Shit. Well, speaking of wild animals, pigs and wigs from Rob Dyrdek.
Live in a wig on a pig world, and a lot of people live a wig on a pig lifestyle. Having a job that you don't like and being around people that you don't have a good relationship with. Let me get 2 glasses of wine and my favorite show to make my life feel better. That's a wig on a pig. I'm gonna work super hard and then go on vacation. The vacation is what's gonna make it all worth it. That's a wig on a pig, you know what I mean? And then as you get older and your body breaks down and you're unhealthy and you don't wanna take care of yourself and now your back hurts, like, oh man, I gotta get the injections for that pain. Take away the pain for a couple weeks. Wig on a pig. It's that wig on a pig lifestyle.
That shit is deep. And that was great editing.
It was. I thought the
made
same
that
thing.
video. That was like fantastic.
Yeah, really good.
Now that I'm in the
Take
media
notes, cigar.
space.
Soccer.
Now that I'm in the media space, it is. You know what I mean? I have an eye for these things.
Producing now.
Yes. Gerard, what do you think about putting wigs on a pig?
We've talked about it before. I'm sitting here. We're having a nice dinner last night, and I'm talking about the IMF and the World Bank and fucking, how many people would we talk to before we found somebody who knew who the chairman of the Federal Reserve was? Would we talk to 100 people before somebody knew? And I was thinking about that last night after we left, and I'm looking around, and the way I said it was probably condescending, but.
Very much so. I was pissed.
But those other people there, did they seem unhappy? Did they seem
everybody around?
Did they seem like they were having a bad time? That so
you talking to everybody around.
Yeah. They don't know who Jerome
and...
Powell is, but does that mean they can't have a good time at Kapow? Are they any less involved, or are they worth any less because they know who Kylie Jenner is, or they know that Fendi is Rihanna's makeup brand, but they don't know. Who is running their world, or they don't know why.
No, they're having fun, but it's useless information, and fun isn't always
correct.
The best.
So I go back and forth with that, right? Like, I don't like having the knowledge without having the wherewithal to change anything.
Right.
It's very
it's
frustrating.
Right.
It's not actionable. But I also don't like that our dinner was twice as expensive as it was 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I'm stuck in the middle. I wish. I said this before, and I'll say it again. I either wish I could get smarter, where I could figure out what to do about what I know, or I wish I could just get dumber and fucking, hey, let's just drink scotch and fucking watch dumb shit and ride this wave, baby.
Hell yeah, brother. Candice, what do you think?
Well, I almost forgot about the clip.
Pigs and
After
wigs?
that, yeah. It's kind of like the lipstick on a pig, right?
Exactly.
So it's still a pig at the end of the day, and I think it's just to live more conscientiously. So I think it's easy to get trapped, right? You have this mundane routine, and it's like day in, day out. I wake up at this time, and then I go to work, and then I come home, and I'm exhausted. So I'm going to skip the gym, and order the pizza. I'm going to get drunk. I'm going to watch TV, go to bed, and do it all over again. And that's not living. I think we all know that's not living, which is why everyone not everyone, a lot of people have angst or depression or just like this haze that you're going through. And I've been there. I mean, 100%. There have been moments where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I don't feel alive. I don't feel energized. And it's like just this numbness. So you have to like break yourself out of that in any way possible. It's almost like by doing these things, it's sucking the life force out of you. Totally. And then you wonder why you're so tired. And you're like, well, I'm getting rest. I have quiet time. I have leisure time. It's because you're not doing something that's feeding your soul and giving you energy. So if you find one thing, whether it's like going for like a nature walk or exploring like new restaurants and playing with your kid, whatever it is, like doing one extra thing that is out of order, like your traditional order routine, it'll snap you out of it. So it's like you get exhausted, so you try to take things off of your plate. And what my trap is I delegate. I like got into this place of delegating everything, and to a point it's helpful, but if you over delegate, then it's like I'm not contributing anymore. Like I am in a sense that I'm providing work and jobs to these other people, but if I'm not doing the dishes, if I'm not cleaning, if I'm not doing laundry, if I'm not right, all of these things, then what's my role here? So I think taking on more responsibility actually is an answer as well.
Right. When do you feel your best? When I know you mentioned like playing with your kids, nature walk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When do you feel your best, and why do you think that is? When do you feel like you have the most purpose and the most are enjoying? Like I know if I kind of disagree a little bit with the clip, because I agree, but in this aspect I disagree, because I know if I bust my ass, work really, really, really hard, you know, and then I get to like kind of relax for a couple of days just before doing it again. You know what I mean? I earned that relaxation.
I don't think it's not relaxing. I think they're not consciously picking what the relaxation, like they're just zoning out. Do you know what I mean? It's different.
They're on a treadmill. They're on a treadmill. Yeah. To your point, I think Rob is right in his diagnosis.
I agree.
I just don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, right? Like it's okay. Alan Watts is somebody I've been listening to a lot.
Gerard, okay.
I mean, look,
It's a little Napoleon Hillish.
Growth. No.
Look at that.
Alan Watts is
Alan
great.
Watts.
He's not Napoleon Hillish?
No, Alan Watts would reject Napoleon Hill outright.
You think?
Yeah, for sure. Alan Watts is.
Do you agree?
I don't know if I agree.
Well, too bad they're both dead. We'll
Yeah.
have to talk to their kids. Alan Watts thinks life is to be lived. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't need, like the purpose of life is living.
Mm-hmm.
There is no necessarily purpose. You don't need to constantly, like he would argue
It
that
is the purpose.
yes, the fun is the purpose. It's a game. You need to play. The gods want to watch you play. That's the idea. The idea that like you feel like you've earned your rest and relaxation. He would tell you, no,
Your inherent right.
it's your inherent.
But it
right, which
doesn't
you've-
feel as good. You know? I know me personally, I feel the best when I have like a goal ahead of me and I'm working towards that and doing stuff, which is why is the aspect of the clip I disagree with. Right? Like when I have a fight booked and then I'm grinding, I feel very alive. I feel full of fire. That's when I feel the most alive.
Sure.
You know? Then I have the fight. I have that peak pinnacle moment, and then after that, for that week after, I'm still almost in I'll call it a hangover, but in a positive way. You know what I mean? I'm in like the paradise, the honeymoon almost from that. You after like winning a fight, you know. But that whole process, I love. I enjoy every part of that. But I think if I were to just be handed $1 billion and just go to the beach, I think I wouldn't have as much purpose. I'd have to do something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, service. So I've found putting myself second, not being subservient, but being of service. How can I help? You know, doing the thing. Hey, this needs to get done. Who's going to do it? I'll fucking do it. It's being of service is the purpose, I feel like how we can.
Is this a newer thing for you?
Yes, it is. It is a newer thing. Within the last couple of years, I've been trying to
Do you think you do it begrudgingly though, or do you think you do it with a smile on your face?
No, I do it begrudgingly, especially if I feel like there's inequity in the relationship.
Inequity.
If I feel like I'm doing more than somebody else is doing.
So you're kind of keeping like track of
Absolutely.
stuff there?
Like the great Barack Obama once said, don't ever think we're not keeping score.
Yeah.
That's not what relationships are you doing this?
Well, no. Well, here's the thing. Just because you're keeping score doesn't mean that you're holding it over somebody. What it gets to a point is when the inequity gets too much, you just say, this is a losing bet. And then you move on. You don't necessarily have to be in a position where it's like, hey, you owe me. You just get into a position where it's like, man, I've given enough. You know? So, and then
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. If it's a one-sided relationship, that's that's not what you want.
Yeah, and what you don't want to feel like is a sucker. What you don't want to feel like is that I give and I give and I give, and the person takes and takes and takes, or the business takes and takes and takes and whatever, and then that now becomes the role, where the role is I do it, they take it, and there has to be some sort of reciprocation.
So this is something I know we've spoken about, Candice. We haven't, but I bet you've had something like this. I know you and me are very close with both of our fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Both of our fathers would be like, oh, like look at this stuff I did for you, blah blah blah.
Oh, your dad's keeping a tally.
My dad's he was keeping track. If anything, like the one time if you act like an asshole,
impressed.
I did this, I'll do this, I did
That's
that.
not
and
why
I'm
you do
that's what I'm
things.
saying.
Yeah.
And that's something I learned is like that you don't do things because to hold it over someone's head. That's like the worst, almost the worst.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
I'd
then fucking,
rather-
I wish
I'd
you didn't
rather
do
not,
it.
yeah.
Exactly.
I'd rather you
Exactly.
not.
Especially if
I'd
you
rather
didn't
not.
ask for it. Especially if you didn't ask for it. The worst is when somebody does something that you didn't ask to, and they're like, "You see this thing I did for you?"
Yeah, it's like, all
You're
right,
like,
fucking cool, bro.
I
Like,
didn't ask
all
for
right.
it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so. I think
That's in
I
my
would-
evil book.
That's an evil book.
Yep.
Well, yeah, because it's manipulative,
It's
right?
it's manipulative. It's
I got a chip on you, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the idea. But that's not what I'm saying as far as this is concerned. What I'm saying is like, yeah,
I'm just saying almost to. Yeah, you know,
No,
I was saying almost be wary of that you don't get there because I think it's shitty for both sides. It's shitty for you too because then you're constantly like, you're like a martyr.
Yeah.
If you get to that point.
What I've noticed though is that if it's gotten to that part, it's probably gotten too far. By the time I start noticing that, man, I don't know, it's probably gone too far, and I should have set some boundaries or done something, and I'll try to set the boundaries. But there's also I don't see failure as a problem. Like, hey, look, I wanted to get in this relationship, and it just didn't work out. It's fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to do this thing. It was a worthy endeavor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some more stick-to-itiveness would work. Maybe in some of my past businesses or something, sticking with it a little bit longer, not bailing. Maybe at valuetainment, if I would have just shut up and toed the line. I don't know. But I'm okay with not doing it. I'm okay with being like, man, I tell you what, man, I think I'm giving a lot more than I'm getting out of this. So I'm out. And I'm okay with that. But at the same time, you want to give in the beginning. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I want to give. I want to be a part of this. I want to, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You want to give. But also I do feel like at some point people have to meet you. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one-sided relationships suck, and I'm sure we've all been in.
Mm-hmm.
some-
Oh, for sure. Unrequited love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
something
look,
like that.
Even if it's not love, what if it's just business?
Mm-hmm.
What if it's a situation where, you're I'll tell you what, friendship, right? I have friends that I haven't talked to in years, and I haven't talked to them in years because it became remarkably obvious to me that if I didn't text them, we didn't talk. If I didn't call them, we didn't talk. If I didn't set the plans, we didn't get together. So, I at my aunt's funeral, I saw one of my friends, and they were like, hey, man, what's up? We got to get together. And looked them straight in the eyes, I was like, I love you, bro. My phone answers calls, too.
Yeah.
Now, you can say that's petty, and maybe it is. Maybe it's cynical. Maybe it's petty. As far as I'm concerned, that motherfucker could call me, too.
I agree with you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
I think if they were that spectacular of a person, you know what I mean? I think you're not missing anything if you're happy to be like, wash your hands of them.
Yeah, and at what point do you start to be like, you know what, man? They must not like me that much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to force myself on anybody. Yeah, Watts is great. Like when I try to find my yin and my yang, I am a little bit of an extremist. When I get headstrong about something, I want all in on it. When I'm silly about something, I'm too silly. I have a hard time being silly with serious in the same thing. It should be one or the other, right? In my brain.
That's a great transition, G. Because we're going to transition into art versus happiness.
Let me tell you something. Happiness is bullshit. It's a great myth of the late 20th century.
This
You think
motherfucker's
Picasso
spitting.
was happy? You think Hemingway was? Hendrix, they were miserable shits. No art worth a damn was ever created out of happiness, I can tell you that much. Ambition, narcissism, sex, rage, those are the engines that drive every great artist, every great man. A hole that can't be filled.
I think that used to be true. And you see that with Van Gogh or Picasso. But if you look at someone like Alex Gray right now, he is one of the probably most popular artists out there, selling paintings for a ton of money. He has a cult following. And his is off of unity, psychedelics, love, connection. So it goes against all of that. While I think pain can be an incredible motivator, especially if you transmute it into something like art, I don't know that that's necessary. Maybe that was back then, but I think that the true challenge and task is to be able to do it from like a more evolved place. Can you do this from a whole place? Can you do this from a fulfilled place? And I think that the art would probably be better. And you can kind of see it with certain like comics, I'm sure as well. Not everyone up there is broken. And I think that the ones that probably make it out the other side and then turn it into like a brand and a business are the ones that have figured out how to be whole and happy.
I liked how you said the transmutation, how you can kind of channel that either those feelings of angst or anger, whatever, into creating something. Gerard, I know we've spoke about this before, specifically regarding your comedy. But before we get into that, I wanted to say I struggle with this sometimes because I think, what people say, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I think that's bullshit. I think that's total bullshit because if you want to be great at something, it's going to be a fucking job sometimes. You know what I mean? And like people say like, oh, you got to do it like you love it and do it like, it's like, yeah, well, sometimes you got to just fucking bite down and fucking go when you don't want to do it. You know what I mean? And that's work.
Embrace the suck.
You know, that's work. Yeah. 100%. So my struggle is sometimes is where I feel like if I'm happy and feeling loose and good, that's when I'm more dangerous. But at other times, it's like when I feel like I just want to rip a motherfucker's head off, I'm pretty damn dangerous then too. You know what I mean? So I find there to be kind of I don't know what you want to call it. What's the word? I wanted to get into you because I know you've mentioned if you don't mind me saying, before you go on stage, you got to stop being Gerard Heron. You got to become Gerard Michaels, and you'll look at yourself in a mirror. And you become that fun, silly guy, not like, a business guy, not a serious, like you say, Gerard Heron of you is serious. And Gerard Michaels of you is silly and the jokester and shit talking, having
100%.
fun.
Well, that's like a known thing in like cognitive behavioral therapy, and a lot of these personal development coaches is they'll tell you to develop an alter ego. Yeah.
Fighters as well.
Yeah. So you create the person, and you have different fields of play. So if your field of play is the mat, or if it's the stage, or if it's parenting, or if it's whatever, pick your play. You have different characters for that. And it's not that you're not being authentic. It's just like, what is my baggage that's going to hold me back from not being my best version on this field, and I'm going to leave that and take all the good. So it's just really curating like the best parts of you and leaving the worst parts of you for whatever game you're playing.
Interesting.
I like that. I think the best way to visualize it is Star Wars, the dark side versus the Force. They're both remarkably powerful. And I think for a lot of artists, we operate from pain in the early aspects of our growth because there's just no money. This is one of the things capitalism gets wrong. There's no money in art. There's no money in development. There's so much sacrifice and there's so much struggle, and you have to figure out a way, and nobody's helping you, and you're going broke, and you're living in your car, and you're seeing everybody else around you live this happier life. So there is nothing but pain in the beginning. And through that pain, but what you are is you're alone. And you're focused, and when you're wealthy or you're doing well, you're rarely alone. There's people that want to be around you, or you have shit that you have to do, and you have to set aside time to write and set aside time to be creative. Where when you're sitting there with $5 in your pocket, just drinking one coffee,
but you got to go back further. So I agree with all of what you're saying. If you're trying to do that while you're building your life and you're destitute, right? Of course, there's a lot of pain, but you have to go back further. So there's this amazing quote, and I'm not going to get all of it, but it's before you talk, you sing, before you walk, you dance, and before you write, you color. And if you go back to children, like they are the artists, like they are that is the pure concentration of what an artist is.
Yeah, but they suck though.
No, they don't. Oh my gosh, no. That's the whole point. There is no judgment. It is for the sake of the art that they're doing it, for their own self-fulfillment. It's not to be critiqued. It's not to be monetized. It is to just exist.
And they hand it to you as a gift.
Right.
I drew this for you.
Right, and it's a piece. It's like a real piece of them in that.
And they're not looking. They have no reciprocity in mind, and they're definitely not looking for criticism or. Like,
I will take 2 Rice Krispies for that.
Yes, exactly. I'm giving you. Mommy, I made this for you.
made a little capitalist.
I'm sorry, but we're just not looking for that right now.
Could you imagine saying that? Yeah. Oh, not good enough. What were you doing with that color theory?
There's just no people of color in this right now, and we're really looking to amplify LGBTQ and minority voices. So, yeah.
Well, what I would say is that the purest form of art is love, happiness, joy. It is those higher vibrations, and then as we get more of life kicking us in the face is when we conflate art with pain.
Candice, I'm going to do something that's going to blow your mind. I'm going to fucking agree with you.
Woo!
And what I would say,
we need confetti.
what I would say, having lived through it at multiple times at this point, there is an incredible power in that darkness and that pain and that narcissism and that self-loathing, but it will eat you up and it will kill you.
Just like Darth Vader.
And it will destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's even more power in that light. And there is even more power, and I would say kind of like what you were talking about, that balance, kind of write angry and perform happy.
I think juxtaposition was the word
Juxtaposition,
I was looking
for sure. And it's interesting, as you were saying, and I was wondering if our
I think that Alpha Brain's on a time release. I think we got a dud.
I was wondering if our industries are the exact opposite, in that you guys train very happy. You guys beat each other up, but you're kind of going soft, just hard enough, playful. You're not.
Yeah, it can get heated.
But then how do you?
But it's all. But
how
it's
do
like
you get to
like
that place?
Smiles at the end.
You're not ripping anybody's shoulder out of their socket in sparring.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about.
But that's the thing. But then how do you get to that point when you're in the cage and it's go time if you've kind of never trained that? You got to get to a different place.
I think you have to mentally train that. I think that's one of the mental aspects. I don't pull in the gym. I know. I mean, I'm almost 15 years doing jiu-jitsu 2 times a day for so many years. If I get an arm bar in the gym, I go slow. I'm not gonna bust anyone's arm. In the cage, and I know because I've been there. I'm not trying to let you submit. I'm trying to force you to submit. I'm gonna try and break that arm right off so that you are forced to.
So then, do you have that alter ego that you have to get into that mind frame?
I think so a little bit. I think before
Mickey.
Before I fight, I'm prepared to kill and die. Well, you know what I mean? My calendar, if I got to fight on the 1st, there is no the 2nd. You know what I mean? If my fight's the 1st of March, there's no the 2nd of March. That's when my calendar ends. That's when my life ends. And that brings me a lot of purpose and a lot of energy, and it's fucking fun. I feel like I'm living on the edge. I feel very, just like I'm.
Are you actually prepared to die? Nobody dies in the cage, right? Like,
I'm smart enough to know they probably won't, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Someone's gonna die. 100%.
Are you allowed to do kicks?
Oh yeah, you're allowed to do kicks.
Can you do above the?
You can kick someone
ahead?
Right in the fucking head, right in the mouth, right.
Well then
you can elbow someone as hard as you.
I didn't know if you could kick. I feel like that
people
would be
have gotten
like
sports.
People have gotten kneed in the head. Christian, pull up some head kick knockouts. People got kneed in the head and had their skulls cracked. You can knee in the face.
Someone's 100% gonna die. Your poor mother. Oh my god.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I said this to Tim Kennedy on a plane. Because we were talking about him just being a wild man. And
fan of the program now, Tim Kennedy.
Shout out Tim Kennedy and Dan Holloway.
The women in your lives must have been Spartan women. I said that to him. I said that to you. There is a type of woman that has to be so spiritually evolved to be supportive and okay.
Yeah.
My mom's a badass. My mom's been to every single one of my fights. She's sitting there going
there's still a part that she doesn't like seeing him get hit, for sure.
I guarantee you that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I've talked with her and my family because I've even same way we said, I know I'm probably not gonna die. I know I'm probably not gonna end up killing the guy, but I'm prepared to. My mind's that extreme on those days.
Yeah.
But I've also, because I have the wherewithal to know it's not likely, but I also am aware of I've gotten fucking beat up on TV. I've gotten busted, over 50 stitches in my face for the world to see, for my family members to see me in there fighting and bleeding and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is what I'm doing selfish? Because I think about it, but I've spoken, I've spoken to my family, and they're we love that you're living your dream. You know what I mean? We've always known you're a fucking little bit of a psycho and love rough shit.
And that's an awesome family.
Competing. Yeah, my family's been very supportive.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I told my mom I was going to do jujitsu. She's like, ew, you're going to get such ugly ears. That's exactly what she said.
I got some kicks right here.
Ladies love them.
They do. No, girls don't have a problem with it.
They're kicking. But they'll kick in the face soon.
Yeah, so you can do head kicks.
Yeah, I don't know why Christian didn't go head kick compilation.
It's all right. He only had
that girl
7
just
minutes
kicked
to
right
7 minutes to tee it
Did you
up.
see that girl get kicked in the head?
Bung!
Whoa.
A knee is worse though. A knee is
More powerful?
Yeah, it's a
Broader base.
bigger, and it's like harder. Like elbow is harder than a fist.
Yeah.
Too.
So
if
you have
you're-
kids.
If your
boys.
babies wanted to do some fighting,
So I want them to be able to have that discipline, be comfortable with discomfort. I think especially as a boy, that's really important. Emotional regulation, all of those good things that come.
confidence.
If they want to take it professional, I think
Yeah.
it's just making sure that they are ready for it. Kind of like when Matthew McConaughey tells his story about he wanted to drop out and be an actor, and he thought his dad
That's
was
a
going to
great-
have this
great story.
huge issue with it. He's like, no, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right. So I want to have that
Yeah, but
kind
go
of
all in. though.
sensibility.
Go all in.
No, I
Don't-
know.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that was the McConaughey thing. His dad was great. He was
Yeah.
like, if you're going to do it,
You do it.
do it.
You know how his
Don't-
dad died?
No.
Fucking his mom.
Is that right?
And he said, "This is the way I'm gonna die is having sex with your mother." And it's actually a really interesting story here. They were like divorced and remarried 3 times. McConaughey's mom and dad. There's a lot of rumors
Uh-oh.
that Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey are brothers.
I've seen this.
They lived in the same town, for sure. I think it's the same mom, or no.
It was-
Maybe the same dad. I can't. I think it's the same.
It'd be
no,
the same dad if
mom.
there was a question mark.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was the same. It would be the same. I can't
It's
remember.
probably same dad.
Same dad. I
Whatever.
think,
Yeah. So
But Woody
they think
Harrelson's
Woody
dad-
Harrelson's dad or something. So he was also involved in like the JFK assassination.
His dad
and
was
stuff.
an assassin. His dad was a murderer.
Right.
What?
Woody
Yeah.
Harrelson's dad was a
Yeah, he's-
murderer for the mob. He was
Yeah.
like a hitman.
Whoa, I
And-
like
but-
him even more
But there's
now.
something there. I can't remember it exactly. But there's a lot that they were in the same town that they I think McConaughey's mother definitely had a relationship with Woody Harrelson's dad or something like that. Like there's something there. You guys could look it up. But then when you look at them, there's definitely some sort of something similar there.
They
between the
they
two.
were damn good. They had chemistry
True
in True
Detective?
Detective. My God, were they good? They were so good together in True Detective.
All right. Come on back to the Airstream after I make the best margarita this side of the Rio Grande.
Pull up that clip and make Candice go out. That's not the way the arm goes.
Oh, his arm's the wrong way.
Oh.
You can hear the crack.
All right, and you'll see it pop. And that's where it goes.
Oh my God.
Now I've heard. I haven't
Okay.
seen it. Obviously, I've heard. Now that guy Frank Mir just submitted there is one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Supposed to do Slick and Thick, by the way.
Nogueira? Oh, Mir. Yeah,
Mir.
yeah. But Nogueira is one of the best fighters of all time, and he has all these wins, and he has all these massive accomplishments across the globe. But him refusing to tap is like his proudest moment. He has his whole wall in
Enzo
his
Gracie
gym.
as well.
His whole gym is that mural of him with the shoulder out.
The only picture Enzo Gracie has is when he got his arm snapped this way by Sakuraba. Because that's
Really?
when he's most proud. He remembers when he was in it. He remembers feeling the ligaments going, feeling it, and like, yeah,
Really?
I'm a fucking
But
badass.
don't you think that that's silly?
Hell
you?
no. No.
Why?
Absolutely not.
Because
It's
what
a
if
warrior
it takes?
spirit.
But what if it takes you out permanently? Wouldn't you?
You're right. There is something where I've heard smart people say if you're in this type of lock, fight it. But if you're in this type of lock, like a leg lock where it's gonna tear your knee and you're gonna be out for 9 months, 10 months, tap. But
There's some rumors that was talking about Frank Mir again when he got Lesnar in the knee bar. It was Lesnar's corner telling him to tap, 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 tap. Because they
so they didn't want to shred.
So
his
it's
leg
they
up.
didn't want the earning horse on the
Lesnar's
sidelines.
a
Yeah.
monster. But so it's a thing. It's a thing. Like you're kind of a bitch if you tap if you don't have to tap.
You're not a
Blackout
you're
before you tap
you're
out,
never-
baby.
You're no. I mean, maybe a casual fan could say that, but no. There's a reason why those guys are very proud of that, because there is something to the warrior spirit.
Yeah.
That I'm ready to kill or die. You could tear off my arm, but I got another one. that I'm going to fight you with still.
You see it in all these different sports.
Would they let you fight with an arm hanging?
If you could fake it. No, not if it's
If
like
they
very
knew,
obvious, the
they'd
ref
pull
will
it?
stop it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big plot point in the movie Warrior. Yeah, but this is kind of that warrior spirit. When you come up one way, I think for people it's very, very hard. Like hockey is a big one, right? Like getting guys to wear helmets in hockey was one of the hardest things the NHL ever had to do. And then getting people to wear visors on the helmets has been like an impossible thing.
Oh my.
So
I don't get that. So my husband was in A-League and so was one of his best friends, and his friend didn't have a guard. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I would see these men, and it's not like they're professional. It's like a men's league. Coming in, you're going to go blind.
yeah, but they're not going to be a pussy.
Oh my God.
So
Boys.
Hey, well, not wearing a visor sounds a little idiotic to me. Speaking of it, how to spot an idiot. Not going to be able to see.
The best way to spot an idiot, look for the person who is cruel. Let me explain. When we see someone who doesn't look like us, or sound like us, or act like us, or love like us, or live like us, the first thought that crosses almost everyone's brain is rooted in either fear or judgment, or both.
who's this
That's
fucking guy?
evolution. We survived as a species by being suspicious of things that we aren't familiar with. In order to be kind, we have to shut down that animal instinct and force our brain to travel a different pathway. Empathy and compassion are evolved states of being. They require the mental capacity to step past our most primal urges. Cruelty is seen by some as an adroit cudgel to gain power. Empathy and kindness are considered weak. Many important people look at the vulnerable only as rungs on a ladder to the top. I'm here to tell you that when someone's path through this world is marked with acts of cruelty, they have failed the first test of an advanced society. They never forged new mental pathways to overcome their own instinctual fears. And so, their thinking and problem solving will lack the imagination and creativity that the kindest people have in spades. Over my many years in politics and business, I have found one thing to be universally true. The kindest person in the room is often the smartest.
Ooh, I'm feeling like there's going to be an argument between Candice and Gerard here. Candice, why don't you kick us off with the light, with the truth?
Being that you're the smartest one in the room, clearly.
I don't think, if we go by that metric, maybe. I agree. I think that we have a lot of animal instincts, things that are there for a purpose. I don't think that you need to throw them away entirely, but it's just to be aware of them. So if you do have something that is prejudice in any way, is okay, maybe this is here from thousands of years of evolution because historically the other tribe would look different. So now I'm behaving differently, and check it and choose a different thing. And we see that a lot in any kind of judgment. There's a reason. You see evolutionary psychologists explain away why being a whore is bad, right? Well, of course it's bad because parental, and they'll list their things. And it's not to say that none of those are true, but it's to say you have the ability now. We are so much more conscientious and intelligent now that you have a choice. And you can have a choice to be kind, to say, it doesn't bother me as long as you're not infringing on my rights, etc., whatever the topic is, and choose to be a better person. It's the people that are overcome by their animal instincts, kind of like he's just saying, that are the Neanderthals.
Yeah. So this is actually something that I think about all the time, and sometimes cruelness, I think, is kindness in some ways, because you look at somebody, Greta Thunberg, for example, right?
Cruelty?
Hear me out. So someone like Greta Thunberg, right?
Cruelty
Thunberg.
is kindness.
Greta Thunberg, right? So she wants the world to be a better place for, a less aggressive place towards climate, cleaner, all these things, good things that we can get on board with, right? Somebody who is a social justice warrior wants it to be a kinder, nicer place, and we're going to use these levers in place, DEI and all these things.
I don't think that they actually want those things.
Well,
assuming that they do.
I'm giving them the benefit of the
Okay.
doubt. I agree with you, but I'm
Yeah.
giving them the benefit of
Same.
the doubt. I will say that the people that follow them primarily because they want those things. These are, young college kids. I want a nicer, cleaner Earth. Who wouldn't get behind that? The problem becomes our evolutionary advancements, especially when it comes to interpersonal relationships, go out the door the first second that there is any resource scarcity, right? When there's resource insecurity, we revert back to our baser forms.
Good point.
So if you want a nicer world, you better keep a good economy, because as soon as shit hits the fan, that
warlords come
That
out.
has nothing
that
to
more
do with
evolved
that, though.
thinking. No, it does, because there's almost like that positive bullying, right? Where you keep messing with somebody and they're a little bit heavy, then they lose the weight. Maybe it's not the ideal, but it is effective. If you say, I don't care, we're doing something about climate change right now. No more flying, no more methane farming, no more animals, no more blah blah blah. And they drop the hammer, and then everybody gets literally hungry again. As the earth gets a better place, you're going to see people be far less nice to each other. Far less nice
but
and
you
far less
still
caring.
haven't explained how cruelty is kindness.
Because telling someone like Greta to shut the fuck up, or bullying one of these, social
Fat
justice
shaming
warriors,
someone into losing weight because it ends up being healthier for them.
it may be uncomfortable for them in the moment, but it is a small scale. It is micro-dosing that into creating
No.
I agree with a lot of what you said,
ecosystem.
but I don't get the way you wrapped it up.
No, I will say truth is kindness. Truth is the right thing, not cruelty. So if you
that's a great
someone that's overweight, you're like, no, you are fat. You should stop eating this thing.
Yeah, no, it's not just beautiful and natural.
Right.
no.
You're an idiot. Shut up about climate change. Right. Like, maybe take the idiot part out.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what
No.
Yes.
No, cruelty's
No,
kindness.
no,
They need to know. They need to know.
She's operating off of your paradigm.
Yes, I'm absorbing the energy in this room. No, I think truth is truth
Me
is
and you
kindness.
wearing black, she's in white. The angel
go. The
angel.
amongst these two monsters.
Oh my god.
Truth is truth. Truth can't be kind or mean. People that don't like people, how you
I
interpret
like that.
truth. Truth is truth. How you interpret the truth is yours.
Cruelty is not to be interpreted. Cruelty is cruelty. Cruelty is going above and beyond with the intention of malice, with the intention of hurting, with the intention of like leaving a mark.
Okay,
that's
so
cruelty.
All right, so then we're having a bit of a semantics disagreement. If I say something that is factual that I know is going to hurt your feelings if I say it, is it
There's
still...
a way, but there's different ways to carry out a message. So you can say something that's truthful, that's going to get the point across, and then you can add like a jagged edge to it to like really drive it in.
So
They're
this
two
is
different things.
This is where I agree with you, and this is where you make my point for me. And everybody is sated when their bills are paid and their bellies are full. They tend to have the patience and the kindness to take that extra
I believe
step.
that's a part of the evolutionary thing he's talking about.
I agree, because we've evolved past
Fighting for
resource
food.
insecurity.
Right.
The second resource insecurity comes back, fucking slavery will come back.
That's when it might be smarter to be cruel, because you might need to take shit to feed your people and your
it's
family.
not cruel.
I guess what I'm
think you guys
saying
are
is
misusing
that
the word
okay?
then.
Was harsh a better word?
No, I think it goes back to what is truth. And I think maybe we can use the word compassion here even. So if you look at putting a horse down, I've used this example, so I apologize to people that have heard me say it, but you have a horse that's lame. The compassionate thing is to put the animal down. So that's not cruelty. Cruelty would actually be letting that animal live. So it's not the absence of pain or criticism. That's not what like being kind is or compassionate is. Like cruelty is like the added jaggedness that doesn't need to be there. That is there with no additional purpose except that you're a sadist and you're getting something from it. That's cruelty.
Looking to like pull someone down.
Right. That's different.
Couldn't a eugenicist take that same level, that same line of thinking, and say, hey, somebody with a 70 or below IQ, it's cruelty to have them.
No, the horse will die. They don't. So the way that their immune systems work, like they can't get over infections. Antibiotics don't work.
I understand. But if somebody
But
needs constant attention in order to survive, should they, in the same way, is it cruel to allow them to live?
I think that is a decision for people to make for themselves. I can't make that.
Yeah.
So I think kind of off of your guys' points, I think a lot of times like the bully is is a weaker person.
For sure.
It's a dumber person. Mm-hmm. The person who's going around being a dickhead, the loud guy in the room is probably because he's scared.
Doyle rules.
Exactly. Is that a smart guy? No,
No.
it's a low IQ motherfucker. I also know so speaking of insecurity, I know in the 15 years or so I've been in the fighting business, the people who are like the biggest killers, the toughest guys, always have like the kindest hearts. are always like the sweetest people, right?
Mm-hmm.
One person who's like an exceptional one, our boy Angla, who we were talking about on an episode or two ago, right? Well, like total killer, fights like a savage, but is like the sweetest, most gentle guy you'll ever meet. And there's so many other examples of that, countless. You know what I mean?
Who are the people that are the most anti-war? People that have been to war. Lindsey Graham's never stepped foot in war, and he can't stop tweeting about going to war.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the people that have experienced it understand the ramifications of what this means.
I think it's a lot from a security versus insecurity thing, and I think it's also a lot about of intelligence, of being smart, understanding, having the empathy to understand if I do something cruel, I'm gonna make that person feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I want to make someone feel bad?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
But this is also why travel is such an antidote to bigotry and ignorance, right? Because it's natural to be wary of your surroundings and things that you don't know or people you don't understand, cultures that are different than yours. You're genetically predisposed to see that as a threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, this is another tribe. This might be conflict, right? Like, we're genetically predisposed to that. But the more you travel and the more you interact with people, the more you meet a guy who's a professional fighter from Burma and you say, wow, these people are pretty cool, right? So like the more you're able to over time personally evolve through these actions, it's beneficial to you. But that doesn't mean like you should just, go down to El Salvador and just walk around on your cell phone wearing your watch and be like, well, everybody's cool all the time. That's, leading with empathy is probably not that's not a way you could be evolved, but you're going to be terminated. I think there's a healthy skepticism here.
Yeah, but
skepticism is different from cruelty.
Yeah, you're conflating being compassionate and empathetic with being an airhead. That's not. Yeah. That's the exact opposite of the clip.
No. If I am, then I apologize. I understand what he's saying. I think people evolve. I think the more you learn and grow into these situations, it's just like anything else, right? Like I guess, are we talking about emotional intelligence? Really, is that the idea here? Or are we?
That's probably part of it.
Right. So I mean, but you can't expect somebody to ace the test the first time. They got to live through some things, survive some things to get that confidence to not be as insecure in some situations. I'm not saying to come out. If it sounds like I'm arguing in favor of bigotry or something like that, I'm not.
No, we know you're playing devil's advocate but you also are. I think there's a little bit of truth in what you're saying. I just find the conclusion to lack is not holding as much water.
Maybe, but I'm not necessarily disagreeing with what I'm saying. I guess you got to give people a little grace, and then also understand that the whole kumbaya worldview thing we're evolving into, which is probably beneficial. The second that there's any sort of insecurity, that stuff goes out the window.
Yeah. Well, speaking of cruel, not smart, we've seen some idiots in our comments. Your mom's house found some in their comments too.
Probably the same.
Or in someone else's comments.
I found this other one, which is like. Also, like, totally innocent. It's this young girl who does, like, dad jokes. Mm-hmm. Right?
I don't rise and shine. I caffeinate and hope.
You know what the comments say under this?
Oh, no.
Awesome. Blow up my foreskin like a balloon.
Oh, my God.
Oh, look. 5,512 likes.
Yeah, hilarious. Fist me with both hands.
That's cool. Yeah. I've never heard that before.
I mean, but this poor girl, like, she is not like this at all, What's with all the degenerate comments? This white girl literally does nothing. Pee on my meals, fart in my eyes. What is wrong with you people? Found this other one, which is
you sent me one the other day.
Yes, I was going to talk about that one.
Go ahead.
So there's this fat chick, I think it's a chick, and she's like making
she's so sweet.
She's very sweet, and she's making herself a coffee with like Toblerone,
which I would totally eat and drink.
What's a Toblerone?
It's like a
stop
chocolate.
No, what's a Toblerone? I don't know.
Why are you looking at me?
Gerard probably has one in his pocket. Check.
What is it?
Do not check. Don't check. Don't check.
It's like a pull up a Toblerone. It's like I think it's like
the little.
What would you call that?
The break apart chocolate that you always see like.
It's just a chocolate.
Reminds me of the Willy Wonka candy.
Yeah, it's
like a Hershey's.
But it's like what is that in there? It's a little like
a
chewy.
Yeah, it's like toffee.
Toffee.
Yeah, but it's chocolate. See that thing right there?
You break off a piece.
I've never had one of those. No,
That's
I
a
don't know.
Toblerone.
You never had a Toblerone?
No.
Oh,
I don't know.
Are you in for
I wasn't making that up. I don't know
Are
what
you
a
in for a
Toblerone
treat?
is.
I know what we're doing after this.
So anyway, she's like puts the Toblerone in the coffee and has it like going in there.
Like a biscotti?
No, like it has it drip onto it, so it cracks and then falls in. You seen people do that?
It was wonderful. She had me until she added the maple syrup.
But anyway, the comments were horrendous. And she's very, very overweight.
Okay.
All right. So like, people were like, one person's like, they're like, hi, hate from India. Another person is like, hi, hate from Australia. Another person is like, is that Bill Natty? like
we can't even say half of them. We can't even say half of them.
Where I will challenge anyone that's making fun of her, and I don't know if I'm right on this. I wish we could check some like calories. Maybe we can. I don't know if Christian can. But how many calories are in an average caramel macchiato?
Ah, get them.
So what's a grande caramel macchiato?
Yes, a shocking amount.
So let's go calories, fat, and sugar. And I bet this poor girl that's putting in maple syrup, which is not a chemical, so all natural.
Don't look at me. I was on her side.
No, I'm on her side. I'm like, I'm looking at.
I'm not on her side.
I want you to agree with me, Gerard. I want you to agree with me. So maple syrup, that candy bar is probably terrible for you. But honestly, it was like just a nugget of it. Like
Yeah.
I bet you that coffee had significantly less calories in all categories than your morning coffee at Starbucks.
It was so funny.
Am I an idiot that I enjoy the mean comments sometimes?
Schadenfreude.
It's not like it's. I don't know why but like I'll have a friend who will send me like some horrific stuff, or he'll send me stuff and be like comments. and in the comments it's just people being pieces of shit.
Bro.
There's some, I don't know why it's like those pranks or like mean jokes.
There has to be.
I like it when it's to politicians.
Oh yeah.
Then I love it.
One that was really funny was ignore all positive comments! Exclamation point on this one. But it's like I don't know why it's funny. It's like I know it's mean. I know it's not right. But there's something fucking funny about it to me.
Yes, one of the other ones was like you need a Toblerone with coffee. Look at. Listen. If you're this girl, look at how beautiful.
Look, and then it's gonna crack and fill the.
See if we can melt this with our shot of espresso. Now this is one thick chocolate bar, so I'm not sure. It's gonna break kind of funny here. I don't know how they can do that to me. It's just heartbreaking.
Is that the whole
so
chocolate
This isn't the one I just sent you?
Give it a nice little stir to make the chocolate dissolve. Dump that into our cup.
This is not what I just sent you.
I've gone ahead and steamed some milk. We're gonna pour some nice little latte art on the top, and for freehand, not bad. Now we're gonna take this to the next level.
That's what I'm saying.
The internet's a terrible place.
I know it's a very wholesome, sweet person.
Yeah.
If you're
this drink looks amazing.
the person, I want to say girl, but who knows? It's 2024.
It's a girl.
If you're watching this or you somehow see this, I would love to get a coffee with you. I think you are a very wholesome human being. We share two very, very similar loves of coffee and not doing cardio.
Read some of
And I would love to have you
Gerard has a
hang
comment.
out with me.
You commented on this?
Huh?
Were you nice? Let's
You
find
commented
out.
on this one.
Read Gerard's comment. Is he mean?
This comment section is fucking cooking old girl, but coffee and chocolate is as good as it gets. That's actually a good comment.
Good for you, Gerard.
No more snap. Okay, I'm not gonna read that one.
That has a bad.
We all know you ate that shit as a kid. Drink water. I can't even read some of these. How about a broccoli coffee? Please ignore all the hate comments. Be the bigger person.
Oh God.
Try going for a Toblerone. I knew this reached the wrong audience when it popped up on my feed.
It's all mean comments.
Sending lots of hate from England, hate from Spain. Tag me again tomorrow. I'll be in Germany. I'd love to send some hate from there as well. Hate from Israel.
God.
Nice bulk. There's a reason why you weren't allowed those. She can survive any car crash.
Jesus.
Ignore all the positive comments.
To see how we're laughing right now.
I hope
What
she-
is
I hope
what
she's
is that?
laughing
What
too.
is that exactly?
It's a German word called Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. That's getting joy out of someone else's misery.
Yes.
I don't think it's that. I think it's. I don't think it's. I'm not laughing at her seeing that and being like, man.
Yeah,
I'm laughing at the creativity.
It's like there's something.
If
it's
they
like
were
a
on a
roast.
stage, it would
It's
be
like,
great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's something funny about that.
But you'd still want to put your arm around her. At the end,
I would. Yeah.
What account is it? I want to give a shout out to that account because
Hey, I would love to have her on.
Come on.
And come have some coffee with us and
I
be
would love
friends.
to have
Like,
coffee.
yeah, we're not. I know we're laughing, but
We're laughing with
CC
you.
unsilenced.
CC on silence.
Yeah. No, we're not. We don't hate you. We have no.
The accounts that I have issues with are when they're big girls and or big guys, and then they try to like normalize that, and they try to be like big is beautiful and all these other things. That they kind of. I know that's coming from insecurity, but they kind of deserve those comments, right? But like there's another guy who he started out at like 500 pounds, and he's been documenting it the whole time, and he's been the guy that's like, it's not okay to be this way. I gotta do this thing, right? There's no normalizing this, and I got all the support in the world for that guy.
So I've had opinions on the big is beautiful and them trying to like prop up healthy at any weight and all of this, because that's obviously not true. But the counter argument to that is Ashley Graham.
Who
you know who that is?
No.
Christian, can you pull up a picture? She is stunning. In my opinion, she's a 10 out of 10, and she is
she's a great big fat person?
She's a big girl. She's not a great big fat person. She's a plus size model. And people will come at her, especially on like the more conservative space. There's some people I follow that are just nasty to her, and they're like, you let yourself go. She had 3 babies, 1 set of twins. Look at her on the right. That's one of my favorite pictures of her. Mm-hmm. So it's like she has been bigger than she is now, but she's still a big girl.
The one on the right, where she's skinnier?
But she's still plus size. And the one on the right, she's probably still, I would say, at least size 12. Yeah, can you find a bigger picture of that one? It's on her Instagram too. So she's always been bigger, and like she's fluctuated, but if you look at her face, you have to see her face too.
She's got kind of like that
beautiful,
smooth fat.
But
you know that smooth fat where it's like you're big, but you're not like.
It's not ripply. It's like cellulite-y.
Yeah, it's not like.
She's got
gross.
cellulite.
Yeah.
But my point is,
I'm not just talking about cellulite. I'm talking about like the overhang, or like there's something where it's like a smooth.
No, I'm
like
sure she does.
Fat.
No,
it's called
I'm
an
sure
apron.
She had she had those panties that go up, and you know what I mean. They smooth it out. So I'm sure she does. Yeah. The point is, though, I think that she's stunning, and she is a big girl, and she gets a lot of hate for not being like a regular sized model, which in my opinion is also unhealthy. But it's this idea, especially from women, that we have to be perfect. We are our own worst critics when it comes to like a dimple here, an extra pound here, that my panties or whatever cutting in to my hip, and I'm not worthy. And it's this idea of, if I'm not perfect, I'm not going to be lovable, I'm not going to be enough. And we project that out onto women like this because she's married to a beautiful man, she's got beautiful kids, she's wildly successful for her looks. Mm-hmm. Let's not get that twisted. She's wildly successful for her looks. So she almost isn't getting punished for the things that we're told we're supposed to get punished for, not being a size 2, not being absolutely perfect. Mm-hmm. So because she's broken the mold, people are like, no, she's fat and let herself go. Like, no, she's fucking beautiful, and you're mad because you don't think that you would be where she's at if you were at that size, and you probably wouldn't. Like, if I was weighed what she weighed, I'm not going to be making millions of dollars off of like supermodel contracts, you know what I mean? And I think inherently we know that, so it's she's getting away with what I couldn't get away with, so I'm gonna be a mean girl to her instead of recognizing that she's beautiful.
Hate women the most
for
like,
sure.
Women rip on women.
So you can see like her body here, and I think this is after her first baby. No, her body here. This is after I think her first baby. But she's a big girl. But she's
a big girl, but she's not a great big fat person.
But she's beautiful. I think she's beautiful.
So she got some great big fat tits though.
Well, it's
she looked good.
It's not just girls. I feel like I can speak to this. So I used to be 225, 8% body fat, pro athlete, right? And now I'm not. And when I do
8% body fat?
Yeah, it was like 9%. I was looking for the pictures to show you. I can tell you exactly what it was. The Cardinals tracked it every day. It was whatever. So, I mean, you've seen the pictures. I'm not fucking lying. I mean, Chris can pull them up.
So you're still a stud.
Well, this is the thing, right? If I beat somebody in something, like we go play jiu-jitsu or something like that, take them down immediately. What's the first question I get asked every time?
Oh, how much you weigh?
Every time.
Use strength.
He's just a big guy. Wow, you're a big guy.
You're a big guy. Yeah, he's really strong.
Every time.
But
right?
they go, yeah, you're really strong. It's not.
No. It's, hey, if you lost weight, you'd be really good at this. I just beat you.
But it's.
I just beat you. If I win in pickleball, it's like, wow, you're really good for a big guy. If I get a good-looking girl, it's like, man, you get girls for a big guy. Yeah, and it's always
a lot of girls like big dudes.
you're damn right. But the point I'm saying is it's interesting what you said because it really resonates with me. It's not. It sounds like a compliment, but it's really it's hatred. It's not a compliment. It's hatred. It's fora. As soon as they say the words fora, it's hatred because what they're saying is you shouldn't be this good, or like you don't deserve to have beaten me. You don't deserve.
How dare you be on the cover of Vogue? How dare you have a fine ass husband?
But you're good for this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm still better than you. You may have beaten me, but I'm still better than you. You're pretty good for a big guy.
Yeah, and my argument is that she's beautiful, and then people will say for a big girl. It's like no, she is prettier than almost anyone. Any bar she goes into, any restaurant, any whatever.
I thought that video you showed, I thought she looked phenomenal. Yeah, like all around. Like I didn't think she didn't look like a great big fat person.
It's just how people are. Back in the day when I first started doing stuff online and I was still in really good shape, they would be like, "Shut up, take more steroids." Now it's like, "Shut up, you're fat," and it's the go-to. This is what the internet does. This is like what. Shut up, you're a whore. Mm-hmm. So nothing you do or say matters. Mm-hmm. I'm still better than you because X. Mm-hmm. And that's as soon as it's fora, it's out. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I think you're a fucking horrible human being. Wow, you move really well for a big guy. Wow, you fucking are pretty dumb for the sperm that won. Anyway, all I'm saying is that get in where you fit in. This is a fucking hard world. If that girl wants to eat chocolate and drink coffee with me, I'm happy to do it. It would be amazing, and then Mick will probably make us walk for 30 minutes after.
I'm gonna make you do some lists, some low intensity, steady state. Just because I care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I'd love to hang out with that chick, and we'd be great friends.
I'll have my first Toblerone with her.
Hell yeah.
We're really caring for a bunch of bullies.
Yeah. Well, shit, fuck, guys. This has been a great episode. I think this has been a really cool one. Again, Candice, Gerard, Mickey, we've been Canceled Weekly. Thanks for tuning in.